Hello world, my name is Keon, and I'm going to show you how to make an item block like you see in old school platformers. Real quick, let's first make sure that our item block knows that our character is jumping by giving it some new blueprint stuff. So what we're going to do is we need to make sure our character is jumping. Two ways to do this is there's the if falling boolean, but I don't like that too much because in practice, all it does is like say is your character off the ground. It doesn't really care which direction you're going up. So what we want to do is make sure our character is going up so that we can actually set a boolean to that. So we're going to call the tick event here, which fires off every frame, and for future, we're just going to set this off to sequence. We'll get to this later, but first let's do what we want sequence 0 to do. So dragging out from here, we want to set a location and make sure that its current location isn't the same as its old location. That all sounds complicated, bear with me. We're going to get the location, and super easy. From there, what we want to do is create a new variable and call this one new position. No, you know what? Current position. There we go. While doing that, let's just create another vector variable and call this one old position. So basically, we want our current position to be current and our old position to be one frame behind, since this is firing off every frame. The best way to do that, especially if your game is going to be limited to 60 frames per second anyway, is just divide, set a delay, and make sure that the delay is about the same length of a frame. So if we have 60 frames in 1 second, that's going to be about 0.0167777 blah blah blah. But we're just going to set that. So we have that set. Now next thing we want to do is let's see, make sure we have our variable set to if jumping. Have a variable to see if we're jumping. So let's go over here and add a new variable, and it's already a boolean by default, so we're just going to call that b is jumping, since I just love adding b's to the front of my booleans. Alrighty then. We want this guy to be set to true if the z position of our current position is higher than the z value of our old position. So we're going to have to compare them variables. Let's go ahead and break them vectors and get our old position out here just to be safe. We could probably do it from here. I don't feel like risking that. That would be embarrassing if something breaks and I just can't live with myself. So let's go ahead and break that vector here. And what we want to do is make sure that this one is higher than the other one. So we're just going to compare a float. Don't do compare and equal to, because that could lead to problems, I believe. I'm just assuming. All this is in my head. Let's see. And we want to set this, make sure B jumping is, is set before we get to our old position. We don't want it to be set too late. We want everything after this to just be related to the old position. So we're going to set this before we get to that delay. And the variable should be voila. Looks a little messy. Second part of this is we want to make sure that we can actually see when we're jumping. So I'm trying this out. I'm not really sure exactly what the sequence does, but it says it doesn't do stuff with a delay. I don't 100% know what that means, but you know what? There's a time to learn and a time to experiment. Right now I'm experimenting. So we want this to fire a string every time we're jumping. Ooh, is jumping. Alrighty. So let's compile that, save that, play that. Alright, and he's jumping. He's jumping. Alright, now let's create a new variable and call this our item block. We're going to make an actor blueprint. Create a new blueprint from the actor class. Call it the item block. And we're just going to add an arrow here, like I always love doing, just so I have something that's exposable. Alright, because this guy is what we really want to, if we wanted to change it. I don't have any cube meshes on me, so I'm just going to add the one with that comes with the engine. And let's drag him out to the level just to make sure he lines up with our character. Ooh, it's pretty. Alright, so that's about right. Because remember, our character can only move in 2 dimensions. So it's a good idea to make sure he's in at least one of those dimensions. Okay, so we have our item block. We have his collision set to block all dynamic. One thing we want to do, just to be extra sure, this is not necessary. Actually, for this example, it's necessary, but it may not always be necessary for what you want to do. Use your best judgment. We're going to add a collision cube, collision box, and I'm going to make sure he lines up better. Could barely see the mesh in this view. But, so yeah, we want that to be, let's type in 48, 48, good, and 16. Because we could just kind of want him to snuggle into the bottom. Oh, you know what? I'm looking from the top. I'm a terrible person. There we go. And just snug right in there. Doesn't need to be too far out. And this is just going to be our jump check box. This is to make sure that our character is actually beneath us when we start firing off things. Because what will happen is, let's say we want the item box to do what it has to do every time our character hits it. What we could do is go to our item mesh, and since it already has collision set, we could just enable hit, get out a hit event, and whoops, I dragged from the wrong thing. Cast to our character. Make sure it's a side scroll character and not the regular character. There we go. And print a new variable, a new string, ouch. Just going to change the color of that so we could see it easier. That's a stupid word. There we go. Alright, so let's try this out. Boom. Ouch. 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 Now watch this. Ouch, ouch. Say that's not supposed to be happening. It's being called from the sides. So what we want to do is make sure that, well, first we need to make sure our character is jumping. So let's go get is jumping. And make sure that this will only reach here if our character really is jumping. Because look at what happens when it's not. Let me see if I can jump on top of this guy. Let me lower it. Bring this over a little bit. Probably can. Yeah, definitely can. So see that? He's calling ouch even though he's not even like on top of him, touching him from the bottom. That sounded weird. But let's make sure that this only fires off if it is jumping. So branch. I cannot spell today. All right. Now what we want to do is make sure that he's only going to get hit if he's coming at him from the bottom. So that's where our item jump checkbox comes from, and that's why his positioning is so important. So what we want to do is add a begin overlap. And if it's cast, we're going to cast it to here, to our side scroller character. And if it's our side scroller character, then we can, let's say, make a new variable. Let's make a at bottom. B is at bottom. That's nice. That's nice. All right. So we're going to set that to true if he is overlapping, and if he's not overlapping, or as soon as he leaves, we're going to set. We're going to make another event for the end overlap. So as soon as he stops doing that, it'll set this back to false, which is important because we're going to use this variable, this boolean, to determine whether or not the sequence of events proceeds back up here. So let's go back up here and just drag this out a little bit. I'm not sure if the order matters, but I'm just going to put this in front. Alright, and I'm going to hurry up here before we take too long with this video. And just drag this guy out. Boom, bada boom. Alright, so let's try this out. So we hit from the side and no more ouchies. Let's hit from the bottom and no more ouchies. Oh, we got an ouchie. Let me raise this up because that might be part of the problem. Raise up. Alrighty. Ouch. Ouch. Awesome. And so after that, you could pretty much fire off any event you want. You can even have it destroyed. That's up to you. If you want kind of a block that just kind of dies afterwards. Yeah. So thank you for watching and enjoy your day. Bye.